All right, it is time for the performance review of our elected representatives and senator for District 23, which Kuna basically votes for. So, or elects, based off of your votes. I'm just going to do like a general thing, and then I reached out to them. I told them I'm going to be doing a job performance interview, see if they wanted to come on. They all declined or didn't respond. No surprises there. Um, they're very busy, and Representative Durrant did reach out to me, said that she's willing to possibly write a statement. Uh, I told her I would be recording this on, I think, like Wednesday or end of business Tuesday, so she could give me whatever, and then I gave her like the things I'm going to be, going over. But I have time today. I have energy, so I have it all up. I might as well just do it. And I'm looking at this information. There's just not much for Representatives Tina Lambert and Melissa Durrant to go over, like in terms of like primary source video of them talking. Senator Lakey will receive his own discussion, like his own thing, because uh, he has quite a bit of speaking items, both in committees. He's a chair, I believe the Judicial and Rules, something like that. I got to review that, but that's going to be a separate one. I have a lot of videos of Senator Lakey speaking, especially I think especially regarding abortion, the abortion bills that he actually, or anti-abortion bills that he sponsored. So I think for him, he deserves his own for that. There may be others for Representative Lambert and Representative Durrant. I didn't really go that far. Um, I guess Representative Durrant, if you're watching this, if you can refer me to some bills or where you've spoken on, I'm willing to do a whole new, um, one of these video things, just for those things when I can find, where you spoke on the floor or within committees. It's just there's so, I mean, the website that you have to download all these. It's not like it's on YouTube. So I mean, each of these files are like 4 GB. They're huge, and then you got to dig through it. So anyway, let's just go with the overview. So as I was saying, regarding the overall philosophy or all of the different uh, political action committees, everyone has their ideologies or their perspectives on politics. So Idaho Freedom Foundation typically, they have education index, freedom index, spending index, and I mean, it's like 6 points. They have like 6 questions, and then they assign points to each of the bills. So the bills, some of the bills are just neutral. Remember, they're going through like 300, or voting on, I think about 300 bills was the 2023 session. So it's not just one for one. So each of these agencies have their way of measuring these things. So we're going to go, you know, Representative Tina Lambert is like the gold standard of, in terms of scores, she's like the straight A 4.0 student. It's like just she's quiet. She's pretty quiet. There's not much stuff online that I could find with her. She did one interview you can find on YouTube with Wayne Hoffman. So just type in her name, and I think Idaho Freedom Action or something. And you'll find her interview. And then she does go to she does post quite a bit actually on her social media in terms of where you can actually visit her and see her in person. And remember, all three of them you can see tomorrow. I'm not sure when you're watching this, Saturday. Kuna Middle School at, just look at the time if you're interested in going. I believe it's on Saturday or tomorrow. I'm going to post this tonight as I record this. So yeah, so she gets very high marks. Representative Durrant, you can see she's getting, I don't know what these grades are. I don't know what the letter grades, but she's getting like 72.1% out of whatever total score it could have been. I mean, everything is relative. So you just look at they're both in the House in terms of how she's voting compared to Representative Lambert. And we may look at specific bills and like how they voted differently. That's going to come up in a different slide in this presentation. Freedom Index is 57.5%, and then Spending Index is 12.7%. Senator Lakey is 66.7%, 55.2%, 14.6%. So he tends to be in the middle of the road. And I think really what killed the spending index thing has to deal with like just spending, government spending, larger programs, and I think I don't know. I didn't really go into details of that. But anyway, here are the scores. You can go dig deeper if you care. Okay, another one was the Institute for Legislative Analysis. Here they put up a report here. That's them. They basically graded a bunch of bills. They selected. Obviously, you can't select 300. Like the nice thing with the Idaho Freedom Foundation is I think they score all 300. They assign a score like +1, -6, -2 for each bill that goes through. So you can, this is probably this is the gold standard. Like they go over all of them, and then the rest of these are like they just choose and pick because they're not going to. The amount of staff needed to measure three is just mind-boggling. And I'm glad these exist because I wouldn't want to be hunting all of these elected officials and tracking every single how they vote on 300 different bills and then tabulate that score at the end. That's crazy. But anyway, here Representative Lambert got a 94%, so you can see she's very high on that. Oh, sorry, just in terms of reference, Representative Durrant and Senator Lakey, they're about like in the middle of the pack. And you'll kind of see that here as well, because you see Representative Durrant right here, and she gets like a 52% in terms of philosophically Republican. That's pretty, borderline to philosophically Democrat. Where that line is, how they exactly measure that, I don't know. Oftentimes, what we'll see in terms of the specific votes is that it tends to be heavily financially, weighted. And you can see that here. You can see that regarding the spending index. And that's, I tend to, like I said before, a lot of the corporations in Idaho, they bring in a lot of taxes as well. So if there's a little bit of crony capitalism up to the amount that these corporations, submit to the state, I'm more neutral on that. I can understand obviously why the corporations, especially remember, I don't know if you watched that 50-minute video, but you have 25%. You have 180 companies. The top 180 employers are contributing 25% of the tax base to the state. So do they feel a little entitled? Yes. Should they? If you were putting that much money in taxes, you probably would do the same thing. So anyway, here's Senator Lakey. He's at the bottom of the philosophically Republican, 55%. Now, like I said, I don't know how they weight this, and I'm actually going to give Senator Lakey, based off of just the limited research that I've done on his roles with the abortion bills. I am actually, looking into more of his reasonings and discussions. I'm actually a lot more. I've been a lot more impressed. So I don't look at these just scores and like, get rid of him. You can, obviously you can do a lot better. Here are the other philosophically. Here are the different centers, and of course, one of the things that was mentioned was like the philosophically Democrat is that you have supposed Republicans. You can see here in the state, but those are other districts, not Kuna's problem. Okay, here's another one from CPAC, Center for Legislative Accountability. Now, in this one, I didn't really like it because they just score 1 point. Each bill is weighted equally, so they either voted for it or against it. So here you can see Representative Durrant. You can see plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, plus. And so she got like she just voted the opposite of like two of these. But one of them could be like really really bad, and like the launch program, and so which costs about 130 million. So anyway, so they give her a 78%, which is a lot better than if you recall what IFF is giving. Just take it for what it is or how they do the measurements. They're doing so many. Like I said, this is a bear to analyze. Here's Representative Lambert at 100%. So perfect score. Once again, that 4.0 student. All right, let's go to Senator Lakey. Where is Lakey? I'm going to pull him up here. And there he is. He is at 79%. And I guess over his career, I'm going to pull my head. Over his career, he's had 69%, 2022, but the districts were mapped differently. So supposedly 2023 he's doing better. So hey, new district, maybe he understands that District 23 is a lot more conservative than where he was before. Once the maps got all changed up. So okay, so IACI now. You're going to hear probably the two prominent names that you hear if you're paying attention to Idaho politics in terms of the Republican Party is the infighting, I guess, between IACI. You'll hear that, and then or their PAC arm, which is the Idaho Prosperity Fund, and then there is IFF, the Idaho Freedom Foundation. So IACI, as I was saying, that you have 180 of the top employers. Providing essentially 25% of the tax base, 25% of the jobs in Idaho. So they get together and they try to elect politicians that favor them. Now they've been converged by social justice warriors. So now they're starting this year. What people notice is the IACI. The Idaho something for Commerce Industry or something like that. Idaho Association for Commerce and Industry or something. I think that's what it stands for. They started endorsing Democrats who are just straight up pro-abortion, straight up transgender, like complete moral degeneracy. And in terms of that trumps any sort of like economic things. They went from like, okay, like you could be neutral on, you could be purely materialist and just look at the jobs and creating that. But once you start supporting people who want to destroy Christianity and basically hate God, you've now become an enemy of God. So if they're endorsed by IACI, right, which supports pro-abortion Democratic candidates and just like pro-satanic candidates, well, you're just don't be endorsed. You need to turn it down. All of the companies that I talked about this in the other podcast, so I don't want to get into that. That's in the previous episode. So IACI has been converged by social justice warriors, and there was talk. There was discussion with the previous Trent, one of the previous IACI presidents, and there was a time when Republicans, because I asked him, I was like, has IACI ever, Trent Clark, I asked him on Facebook, I asked him if IACI has ever supported any pro-abortion candidates before, because that's a major serious issue, because we were like, whoa, what is this Democrat suddenly being supported? Multiple Democrats being supported that are like pro-transgender, pro-abortion sort of positions. And what he said was there was a time when I guess the Republican Party was big tent enough, that had pro-abortion. You could be pro-abortion and be a Republican. So I guess they supported that. But anyway, it just forget it. IACI. There's got to be some other name. This is not a good endorsement, in my opinion. or it neutral or bad. It can be neutral or bad, but it's not positive. It's not a good thing. So anyway, they're openly supporting Sean Dygert against our straight A student Representative Tina Lambert. I mean, how dare they? How dare they? So I don't know anything about Sean Dygert. I know he's like I believe he's the treasurer of Owyhee County. So remember, Kuna is the gateway. So he's going to be needing to knock on doors in Kuna. You may be seeing him around if he does go about that. I'll be watching him. I'll be watching how he gets his money, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get that to the end in terms of the finances. Senator Lakey is being supported. He's been around a long time, and he's a chairman of a committee. Those committees really have a lot of power because you cannot get a bill onto the floor for vote unless a committee gives it the green light. And so there's numerous ways that the chair of a committee can squash it. I believe they call it drawing, basically putting a bill in a drawer. And the only way you can come out of the drawer to be voted upon is if, I guess, like the majority call them out on it and be like, hey, we want public testimony on this. We want to hear this. I'm still learning this process, but anyway, the chairs have a lot of power. And then, of course, we have Representative Durrant supporting this. This being supported by IACI as well. Yeah, it's not. It's just not. I would try and get away from IACI as much as possible. Yeah. Anyway, so here's another thing. This is Idaho, or Stop Idaho Rhinos. They put this up. This is in terms of the specific bills, in terms of how they voted, and this can possibly give a better idea of how this goes. Now, Senator Lakey, I'm going to give him his own one regarding his votes, because he actually publicly before he voted, part of the discussion, he actually gave his reasoning behind it. So I'm going to let him speak on his own votes itself. So this, in terms of whatever the black marks according to Stop Idaho Rhinos, is the school choice thing for Senator Lakey regarding amnesty to illegal immigrants, which is just virtue signaling. I mean, you think anyone can? Anyway, I consider it moot. Yeah, maybe you consider it an issue. It's not something that Idaho is not changing the immigration policy of the United States. That's something done on a different level. And then, of course, here's the spending $4.5 billion for the Medicaid expansion, which from Idaho pockets, from the taxpayer or the tax base, it was about $900 million was the cost. The rest, I believe, came from the federal government. So he voted yes on that. Everything else, though, he voted in line of what Stop Idaho Rhinos believes, is good. So here, in terms of the Representative Tina Lambert being the 4.0 student that she, or 4.0 representative that she is, just went across the board how you would expect, principally to be small government, low taxes as much as possible. Representative Melissa Durrant, this is, in terms of the moral system, the porn to the libraries, trans surgeries, she voted in line with Christian values. The thing that I think probably hurt her scores had to deal with spending, at least with Stop Idaho Rhinos metric, the launch program, and then she voted yes on that. I watched the House debate. I did not see her give any sort of public testimony on that vote. Whoops. Did I just close it? I think I just closed it. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Okay, and now this one is, you can kind of, what part of the debate, what they were saying on on the floor. I'm not sure if it was the Senate too. Was that each year they change the dollar amount. So maybe it's 120 million. You know what it was this year, and next year maybe they'll lower it. You know, but anyway, she voted yes for that. And then also for the Medicaid expansion, just like for Senator Lakey. So there's that. All right. So that's their voting record, and then we are going to talk about the money that they received. Now this is data from the primaries only, because the way that elections work in Idaho, or at least in District 23, is no Democrats really. Democrats just aren't going to win, so they have to run as Republican. It gets decided on in the primaries, and then when it gets to the main election, it's like Republican versus Democrat. I mean, I think even for I think for the representatives, no Democrat even ran against them. So it was all decided in the primaries, and then Senator Lakey beat the Democrat like 2-1, like 66%, and the Democrat got like 33%. So I mean, it's already decided. So how do they get money? So one of the narratives that is being pushed by the Rhino crowd, or saying that money is corrupting our representatives, and it's controlling them 100%. I don't know if I buy that 100%, because so here specifically is the primary funding from 2022. And this is Representative Durrant's funding. I mean, you could see she put in like $12,400. Like, I don't. That's a lot of her own money. And then also, if you look here, you can see there's quite a bit of Hardys, like 4 Hardys, and they're all putting in $1,000. And then here's Durrant, which I don't know if Hardy is her family. Larson is another one. So this is. They're a well-known family. Here you have other names here. You can see here lesser amounts, because 1,000 is the maximum limit. And then so I don't. They're I think they're a. There was another for the trustees of Kuna, and there was that. I think a lot of people spent a lot of money on there, and some big money got pushed around, like $1,000 being the limit. And one of the discussions was like, this was pointed out with the Lowe's. Oh, they're getting $1,000. They're being controlled by these Californians, and I don't know how to express. I mean, when you have a little bit more money, what they brought up. There was a post. That was posted stating that if you're manipulated by $1,000 of campaign contributions, you got bigger issues. And yes, I know maybe you think that low of the individuals, but I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially in light of putting in $12,400. That's not small money. I mean, that's committed. And now regarding like the the company money that companies gave it, they are a major feed supplier they're well known, very well known in Kuna. So obviously they're going to be they're farmers, or they're involved in the agricultural industry, and so they're going to work to protect that. And you hear on the national stage, oh, we love our farmers, right? Donald Trump saying, we love our farmers, and there's all kinds of federal subsidies that happen to that. Agriculture is tied to the land. So when you give, it's not like you can farm all the way out in Mexico, right? The land is tied to the land. I don't know how else to say it. It's not like Microsoft, selling software off in the middle of nowhere. It is tied to the land. So when you are providing sort of corporate subsidies, yes, principally speaking, it is crony capitalism, but practically speaking, it goes back to Idaho. I mean, literally goes back to the land in these businesses. So you have dairy and agri-pack, and then a bunch of these packs relating to agriculture. So yeah, that makes sense. Senator Lakey, he got like $950 from 3 people. Oh, I think that's a politician, Durrant. I mean, Senator Lakey has been there. He's like a classic statesman, and I think when I was really impressed how he spoke, how he comported himself, how he discussed issues. I believe he's a land use attorney, so his day job, is looking through the minutia. Every word counts, and you'll see it being very helpful, especially when he starts when he drafted the anti-abortion laws. Now, the thing with Senator Lakey is maybe because he's been there so long, he does get a lot of company money, and that makes it very difficult for people to compete. Just because, generally speaking, in Kuna, everyone's busy, got young families, a lot of new people, and they're not really plugged in. This is also part of why I'm making these. So he gets a lot of money from these companies, and here you can see them. There's Idaho Bankers Association, United Heritage PAC, Idaho State Independent Auto Dealers, Idaho State Senate Republican PAC, Idaho AGC PAC, Simplot, Idaho Association of Realtors PAC, ICULAC, I'm not sure what that is exactly, Altria Client Services, Delamar Mining Company, Idaho Soft Drink PAC, Idaho Forest Group. I believe Idaho Forest Group is an executive committee in IACI. IDPAC, ANRIP PAC, and then there's a whole bunch that are $500. We go to the next page. Those are all $500. And a whole bunch of $500. Maverick. Okay, so you get the idea. It's a lot of the big employers of Idaho. So that is the financial side. Am I going to, as I said in the previous video, I'm not going to cut off somebody's head. I can understand there being just kind of like just a difference in perspective, not necessarily like a more pragmatic approach in terms of the circle of taxes. It's staying within the system. I don't see any that, as you can see here, all of these are Idaho-based companies. So I have not really looked into. Okay, you can say that if you are pro-business, you're pro-business for Idaho companies, but you're not pro-business for those international, globo homo companies, right? Like for Disney or for Meta, you're not like pro-Meta. You're not pro, I don't know, Adidas, Target, pro-Walmart, right? You are pro-Idaho companies, pro-Idaho companies that employ Idahoans, and at the end of the day, if Idaho dies, those companies die with it. So you have a symmetry in terms of skin in the game. And of course, remember, these Idaho companies are paying Idaho corporate tax, and often at the end of the day, I think the top 25%, or sorry, the top 180 employers pay enough company tax to pay for just in taxes to pay for the grocery tax was a big deal, and I believe the grant program combined. So it's like you put in $300 million, you get a little bit of kickback when it comes to distributing the taxes. Optimally, right, you would just want to have like no corporate income tax, right? I bet the companies would love that, right? If you had 0% company corporate income tax, and then all the politicians were like, look, you don't pay any taxes, You don't get any kickbacks. You don't get any crony anything. You don't get any. Just you get 0%. You should be happy with that. All right. Just stay out of our business now. Maybe. But I mean, they're anyway. I went 1 hour on another video on that. So okay, and then I don't want to ignore Representative Lambert, even though I guess does get a little bit. She put in a bunch of her own money, right? And so that's skin in the game. Like if you're putting in, that says you're committed. I mean, it's not like a money making scheme, right? Which is sometimes what they try to say, when they receive. I mean, this is, I'm not gonna claim that. And here you can see that Representative Lambert put a lot of her own money into it, $6,000 out of 80, more than 50%. So, and in terms of, you get a lot of people donating smaller amounts. You can see that here. And so, but she's a 4.0, perfect scoring representative. Of course, Ayaki doesn't like her, but there you go. That's the overview. Representative Durrant, if you want to, if she wants to explain, because I couldn't find anything online, you show me, regarding your opinions on these. I think the main issues are the Idaho Launch Program and the Medicaid expansion. And then, I can do a video just for Representative Durrant if I get a response. And then Senator Lakey, I'm going to be doing a separate video with all the recordings that I could find regarding him speaking, and plus extra regarding the abortion bills that he was that he wrote or drafted. I don't know who exactly writes it, but so I think that's about it. I notice in here he's not talking about any of the abortion items. And if you Google, because I was like, I want to find things that Senator Lakey has wrote online, and if you type in his name, you'll just see he's been on the target of harassment by the pro-abortion people because he said some kind of quote, and they just go after him now. So I mean, he gets look, we're all human. This is all part-time. This is like 3 months out of the year. Nobody. I don't think you could claim anybody's really getting rich, off of doing this kind of gig. So I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt and try to look at it from their perspective and give you guys a full picture, and help give you the information and you make the decision. All right. Obviously, I'm biased too, but whatever. I mean, it's just information. You can deal with it. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.